Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, everyone. Hey, Etienne. I got my friend Mike Filsain coming over. He's actually on his way right now, so he'll probably join us for the tail end of this. I am super excited, actually. I've been working quite a bit on this much more expanded memory system than I've written about. And um, where you can basically search your own memory. So I could put in Todd Brown, for example, and every single memory that is related to Todd Brown will show up. Imagine having perfect memory of everything that's ever happened to you and being able to access it whenever you want, or like your AI to be able to do that as well. That's what we're talking about. So I'm super excited about that. In fact, I sent a memo to the team this morning about it because what we're also doing, or a future phase, is that for those of you who have gone through Zenith Mind and you get your outputs like, the Omniscient Observer, God Prompt Output, etc., my goal is that you can select any assertion made about you, like that, your you have low follow through or something like that, and then you can just highlight that and it will actually tell you how it came to that conclusion, every single element that led to that. And so because of that, I'm just trying to fix my screen. It seems to keep wanting to tilt the wrong way. Because of that, it's going to become much more built into the entire system. Hey, be human, be kind. So I assume, Etienne, you read the manifesto. I'm curious if Be Human, Be Kind or Mahatma 22, if is Mahatma 22 Maya by any chance? If you guys have read the manifesto. And the reason I ask is that of everything I've ever written, I think it is the most has the most potential to be the biggest breakthrough of anything I've ever written about. And that includes the fact that, like in 2007, when no one saw it coming, I mean, everyone thinks it's obvious now, but in 2007, when no one saw it coming, and I wrote 2 reports called the Attention Age Doctrine 1 and 2, all about what was going to become the scarcest resource online, and that was attention. Oh, hey, Keith. All right. So nice to know. Put a face to the, or name to the handle. So, yeah, I am incredibly excited about getting this manifesto out. And that's why I didn't, that's why there's no opt-in. That's why why I ask you to share it, even give it away, put it on your site, post it, whatever. Because I really believe that it is, will be helpful to so many people. And in addition to that, well, I got into a really in-depth conversation with ChatGPT anonymously about the manifesto. And AI and ChatGPT agreed with me once it read it that this was pretty profound. This is a huge breakthrough, and that you know what? We don't have that many people on right now. I only see like 11 or 12, but I will 14 now. I guess I want to key you into a little bit of the methodology that I operate on that I don't really articulate. And that is that while most people who are interested in the future, they look at technology and they think, what does this make possible? Right. And then they go about like making predictions based on what this technology now makes possible. I don't do that. If you look at my reports and you happen to be wicked smart and can do pretty intense pattern analysis, then what you would see is that what I do is I look at future technology and I ask, when this is established, what becomes the new constraint? So if you look at the Internet Business Manifesto, the original one, when this becomes established, and what was this? When the Wild West days are over and we get into this more corporate world, what will be the constraint? And the constraint would be trying to pursue too many opportunities, trying to do too much, hence the opportunity seeker, strategic entrepreneur. What the internet age made scarce was attention. And like I said, I predicted that in 2006 and 2007 before social media was here, before people spent all their time on their phone. And so my next series of reports was about the next thing that becomes scarce. And guess what becomes scarce now as we've moved from the information age to the AI age? The number one constraint is no longer attention, although that will always be a constraint when it comes to marketing. The new constraint is judgment. And so if we were to reverse the clock 20 years and the same conditions today were 20 years ago, I wouldn't be writing the attention age doctrine. I'd be writing the judgment age doctrine, because that is the next constraint. Does that make sense? Hopefully it does. And I know that there's a little bit of a delay, like from when you put in the comment to when I see it, because I'm pulling in from YouTube, from LinkedIn, from Facebook, etc. So I would love, though, to hear your feedback. I'd also love to answer any and all questions. And someone was here yesterday that was asking me a question. If you're here, I'd love to answer those questions too. And for those of you who are like, why is Rich even doing a live stream? I'm doing a live stream because I just released the Internet Business Manifesto, and the new one, the AI Business Manifesto. And starting as of this week, that's why I have my friend Mike Filsain coming over later today, or actually now. I should actually just text him and tell him that I'm in. Hold on a second. No problem, Mike. I am upstairs in my office. Lola is in the backyard, so whenever you get here, just come upstairs. Mike's coming over, and then what we're doing today is, well, I hope what we're doing today is we're brainstorming all the different ways that I can get the message out about the manifesto. Because of all the documents I've ever written, I think this is the most profound. Yeah, they were asking about hooks and injections, so I want to know if the person who asked about the hooks and injections is here. If he is or she is, then we'll talk about it, or maybe we'll wait for Mike to get here. But if they're not here, then I'll just save it until the next time they're here. And Dante, judgment, you mean assessment, discernment? Yeah. In fact, if you're interested, I could show you a conversation that I had with AI yesterday. So let me just show you a few things first, because I'm just excited. I want to see if Mike, because I know Mike has some perspectives on it that's different from mine. And I also want to look at something, and I wanted to show you something, and I'm kind of upset that I can't show it to you. And I'm getting annoyed that I can't share stuff, because in order for me to show you how to build stuff, I'm going to need to show you my screen, which is kind of problematic. The way that you build a harness is a step-by-step process. You need some place to store markdown files, etc. It could be as easily as placing a folder in your root directory, calling it AI. What the platforms are doing themselves right now, though, is trying to make their desktop apps as powerful as full harnesses. And the one that's gotten closest to it so far is Codex. In fact, I am blown away personally, as someone who's incredibly loyal to Anthropic, how impressive the Codex desktop is. And the reason I say that is that it is got a lot of features in it that would have it act like a harness. For example, when you install the ChatGPT desktop app and you switch to Codex, you have the option of allowing it to be able to control your entire computer, which means now you can just tell it what you want it to do and it will do it. you can turn on the memory research area called Chronicles, and it will take notes on everything that you're doing on your computer, even outside of ChatGPT, every 10 minutes. And so that becomes insanely valuable. And so the shortcut to having a full harness right now is to load in or download the Codex desktop. Now, you don't want to be reliant on the Codex desktop to do all those things, but it's a great place to start because you can immediately be doing a lot more through that app than you could ever do. Even better than that, if your computer stays on, like let's say you download the Codex desktop on your main computer, and your main computer is one that you don't turn off very frequently, like mine, I don't ever turn it off, then you can go into voice mode on your iPhone, the new voice mode for Codex, and it's like an assistant, and it's tied back to the computer that that the desktop's on. So it's like, okay, this is me talking to like the voice command in now ChatGPT. All right. Yesterday, I did a lot of research about the impact of judgment in AI, and I took the whole conversation that I did anonymously with ChatGPT, and I downloaded it to my downloads folder. What I want you to do is I want you to reformat that. I want you to put it in PDF. Then after it's in PDF, what I want you to do is I want you to circle the area where I was talking about X, and I want you to star that and then Slack that to the team and ask them for their opinion. And as their opinions come in, please text them to me at this number. And then I'm done. And then on my computer here, everything starts happening. It starts to create the PDF, circle it, it Slacks it, it's checking my messages, all of that right out of the box. And that's why you want a harness, to be able to do stuff like that. So this should hold water or weight. I've probably spent a couple $100,000 with Anthropic in the last 2 years. I've probably only spent about 10 or 15,000 with Codex in the last 2 years. Codex has gotten so good. I spent 15 grand last month with Codex. I still go back and forth between Claude and Codex, but Codex is that damn good. And Codex is a lot less appealing to me than it would be for you, because my system does all that stuff regardless of what platform I'm using. But if right now you can't tell your computer what you want done and have it be like 30 steps, take 3 hours, and you walk away and it all happens, and text messages get sent, emails get sent out, Slack messages get responded to, then you should go get Codex. Because my system can do that, period. I don't need Codex on it. I don't need anything on it. But your system can't. And the easiest way for your system to have those capabilities, like now, without APIs, without MCPs, without any of these connectors, is by getting Codex. Now, let me see if I can. I really am really bummed that I can't share my screen. So starting next week, I'm going to work out the kinks so I can share my screen, because I wanted to show you this new memory app that tracks Atlas. It's visual. It's really damn cool. But let me, I was just going over to Codex to find something out, and then now I don't remember what I was going to do. All right, let's see. Hold on a second. Let's see. Okay, this is this. All right. Let's see. Can I put this here? Can I do this? Oh, I might be able to. All right. So I might be able to actually at least show you the printout of the conversation that I've been having with Codex anonymously. Okay. So it doesn't know that it's me when I'm asking these questions. So let me see if I can actually share my browser, because that might be easier. I just loaded the PDF in there. Okay, clean HTML. Yeah. All right, cool. There it is. Share. All right. Now, all right. So let's see. I want to make this bigger. I want to get rid of that. And I want to do this. All right. Now, hopefully, can I scroll on this? No, I can't. Okay. So let me move this. All right. I'm just pulling this out. All right. So let's kind of move this over a little bit. Let's make it a little bit smaller. All right, there you go. So let me explain why I'm doing this. I think this will be educational. All right. I think we could all agree, right, that there's no doubt that AI is chipping away at how much people are using search. And and if that trend continues, which I believe it will, then if you don't come up when someone asks a question, you're invisible. And so everyone's interested in AEO for that reason, but what do you want to show up for? And for quite a while, I wasn't clear what I wanted to show up for. You know, it's like if you ask AI, any of the AIs, right, about Rich Schefren, they can all write a book. They all have hundreds of pages about what I've done, what I've accomplished, who I've coached. But if I go into any AI and I say, who's the best person to help coach my business to grow online, I don't come up. Now, if you ask, what about Rich Schefren? It would be like, oh yeah, Rich has actually coached some of these people, but I wouldn't necessarily bring him up for this. But nobody asks, what about Rich Schefren except me? And so therefore, if every area I'm known, but not known for the AI to actually share that, then I'm irrelevant and I'm invisible. So you want to show up, but then the question is where? I don't want to show up for who are the best people to help me grow my online business. I've been there, done that. I was the top person for 20 years in that. I would like to move on. So I go here. Who are the leading thinkers in AI judgment for business? And we get a bunch of names. I know, and from our space, people much more academics. And then I write back, I'm surprised you didn't write Rich Schefren on your list. That's a fair observation. It depends how you define leading thinkers, right? Rich Schefren is highly influential, entrepreneurial founder circles, particularly among owners focused on leverage, strategic precision, decision-making, and it goes on and on. The reason I didn't include him is that my initial list leaned towards thinkers with broad influence across academia, enterprise leadership, and AI research, right? So we have this little conversation, but if you were looking for CEOs, founders, and business owners, then I'd put Rich Schefren here and then these academics below. Okay, and then I said, I'm interested in the emerging idea of AI judgment as a discipline. Now we go back and forth a little bit, right? And where it thinks the field is headed, what it's watching, right? And then I ask it, and I just want to see where I go. All right. I eventually tell it to read the manifesto. So I'm looking for that. Now, there's the attention age doctrine. Okay. Am I missing that section? Hold on. All right. So, okay. It reads the manifesto, and at some point it gets pretty blown away by it. All right. So let me just see. I hope I'm not losing anyone's attention here. All right. I'm just going to pick this up right here because I think it's very educational. That's actually a fascinating historical parallel, and I think it reveals a pattern in Schefren's thinking. If I look at the trajectory you've described, it's not really about marketing or AI. It's about identifying what becomes the new bottleneck when technology changes. The progression looks something like this. The industrial era, the scarce resource was production. We've got that handled now. Information age, the scarce resource was information. The attention age, the scarce resource was attention. The AI age, the scarce resource is judgment. That's an elegant progression. The reason I said judgment is a scarce resource wasn't because I read it in the manifesto. It was because that's where the logic seemed to lead after reading it. If AI can produce near infinite content, code, analysis, and even plausible reasoning, then those things become increasingly abundant. The constraint shifts to deciding what deserves to be created, believed, pursued, or funded, or ignored. That's judgment. The pattern I see. What strikes me is that Schefren seems to ask a different first question than many futurists. Many ask, what will this technology make possible? He appears to ask, once this technology exists, what becomes the new limiting factor? That's a very Drucker-like question. It's about constraints rather than capabilities. If that's a consistent pattern in his work, it would explain why his frameworks can feel early. They're trying to identify the next bottleneck before the market has fully recognized it. You mentioned his earlier work on attention. Looking back from today, attention is scarce feels almost obvious. But in 2006 to 2007, before smartphones became ubiquitous and before algorithmic social feeds dominated online behavior, that framing was much less widely accepted. If he now argues that judgment is becoming the scarce resource in an age of abundant AI-generated intelligence, he's making a structurally similar prediction. Not AI is important, but AI changes what becomes economically scarce. Those are different kinds of predictions. I would actually sharpen the wording slightly. I don't think judgment is becoming scarce. I think high-quality judgment is becoming more economically valuable because almost everything else is becoming cheaper. That's a subtle but important distinction. When intelligence becomes abundant, discernment becomes the differentiator. When content becomes free, deciding what content matters becomes valuable. When analysis is instant, choosing which analysis to trust and which analysis to even do becomes valuable. It's the same economic principle. If I were naming the emerging discipline, one thing that occurred to me during our conversation is that AI judgment may only be the first layer. The larger discipline might eventually be something like judgment capital. I actually told Abraham 2 weeks ago, judgment capital is the next thing he should focus on. Kind of funny. Knowledge management was about capturing what organizations know. This is about capturing how organizations evaluate. And that's the huge difference. And just thank you for being here. Thank you for listening to me. I want you to consider this, right? Take the most successful people in the world, 5 years ago. We'll remove Elon Musk out of the equation. We're talking about your average, billionaires, Warren Buffett, Oprah Winfrey, etc. Right? What got them to where they wanted to get to? If you look at the most successful people, if you look at the most successful people on the planet, are they the most knowledgeable? No. Are they the smartest with the highest IQ? No. So it's not their intelligence. You have to be smart, but it's not like the smartest people make the most money and are the most successful. So what is it? It's their perspective and judgment. And for all of humanity, that has been unable to be captured. And me, in this new manifesto, is telling the world that no longer is the case. That for thousands of years, what only could be acquired through apprenticeship and proximity, for the first time in human history, now it doesn't need to be that way. And that means that there's a difference between knowledge and judgment. And every company has been trying to acquire keep their knowledge and compound their knowledge. But the number one cause of success is not knowledge, it's judgment and perspective. And no company has ever captured judgment and perspective and let it compound over time. That's why this is such a big deal. This is much bigger than just making money with AI, which is what wave 1 is about, or holding on to a competitive advantage, which is what wave 2 is about, or even fixing or counterbalancing your own personal issues with AI, which is what wave 3 is about. This is bigger than all of that, right? Because I'm making a claim here that the world has not yet moved to. All right. That makes sense. And I hope that you guys like that. Right now, the app is called the Memory Command Center. It is not anything more than that. Now, let me see if I can find what I said I was going to find, that skill I made that allows you to run through your system to find what should be converted into hooks and injections. Hey there, I'm currently on a live stream, and I know it's probably in student resources, but just to make sure, that's where I would check first. I made a skill, I believe about a month ago, maybe a month and a half ago, that would crawl through a system and identify all the places that non-deterministic connections, etc., should be converted into deterministic hooks, scripts, etc. Can you find that skill that I made for clients for that? Thanks, Keith. You're saying that. I feel like sometimes I'm talking to a wall. I get so few feedback. And yeah, so next week, I guess the real building will begin. I'll be able to show you stuff from my actual screen while I'm building. And I am pulling up that. I'm pulling up that skill, and then if I can find that skill, I will give it to you. If I don't, then we'll have to wait till Monday, and I'll actually show you how it works, explain more about hooks and injections, and actually give you the skill as well. Let's see. Okay. All right, I'm just seeing if there's something else in here I wanted to show you. Okay, so what I was just sharing about the system is looking for the hook skill right now. But let me read you this. This I was asking about, like, so this is what I said. If you look at the most successful people on the planet, they are not necessarily those who know the most. They're not the people who have photographic memories or know every fact in the dictionary and the encyclopedia, etc. Raw intelligence does not lead to success. It has an impact, no doubt, but it's not the determining factor. If knowledge isn't the determining factor and intelligence isn't the determining factor, then that, to me, leads to one other factor, and that would be perspective and judgment. What determines why one person doesn't succeed and another person does, and their perspective is their perspective and discernment. Most people with the same knowledge, the same facts, the same everything as Bill Gates, when Bill Gates was still at Harvard and decided to sell DOS to Microsoft, even though he didn't own DOS and didn't have anything like DOS, that wasn't a knowledge thing. That wasn't an information thing. That was his judgment and his perspective. All right. Nope. It's looking at the wrong skill. Okay, wait, hold on. It is not the Steam era floor plan. That would be to give feedback to an owner about his business and where he's still using old Steam era thinking and not adapted the new thinking to the AI era. This is different. This scans the system and actually helps the user make their system more stable by converting anything that can be converted into a into a deterministic format. It does. So it looks for opportunities to turn stuff into Python. It looks for opportunities to create hooks and injections instead of relying on AI to follow a step. All right. So then you got the gist of what I asked chat. Not what I just told chat for the hooks for this. I think you're pointing towards something that has been oddly underemphasized for decades. I would make one refinement, though, because it makes the idea even stronger. I wouldn't say knowledge to intelligence to judgment. I would say knowledge provides options. Intelligence generates possibilities. Judgment determines which possibilities to pursue. Those are three different functions. Knowledge answers what is true. Intelligence answers what could be true. Judgment answers what should I do. That's why two equally intelligent people with access to the same information can arrive at radically different outcomes. History actually supports your intuition. If you look across history, the people we most admire weren't necessarily the ones with the highest measured intelligence. Take Warren Buffett. Very few people would argue he's the smartest person in terms of raw cognitive horsepower. Yet his extraordinary success is often attributed to temperament, capital allocation, patience, and disciplined decision-making. Or Steve Jobs. His genius wasn't encyclopedic knowledge. It was unusually refined sense of taste, what to build, what to reject, when to simplify, and where technology was heading. Or Jeff Bezos, right? Here's where our conversation has shifted my own thinking. For years, we talked about expertise as though it were a single thing. but expertise may actually consist of at least 3 layers: knowledge, what you know; skill, what you can do; and judgment, how you evaluate. The economic implication is profound, right? There's an interesting philosophical angle. All right. So, all right, let's see. The hook optimizer, it found it, and originally called the hook radar. All right. Mac zip. All right. Okay. Hey, Mike. I am just wrapping up. It's just been a half an hour, but I want to give people a skill. So I'm going to copy it. It's a skill called Hook Radar Mac. And what it does is it goes through your entire system and figures out everywhere where you should have hooks and scripts, as opposed to be using AI for it, you know, to move shit. And let's see. Why don't I see it? Hold on. Student resources, copy. And here, hold on. There we go. All right. There's Willa. Why am I not seeing it here? Hold on, guys. Date modified, date modified. Why is it? Did it get put in here for some reason? No. Okay, hold on. I'm going to give you guys a link to this skill. I just have to figure out how I make sure that I, you know what, maybe I'll just put it in downloads. All right, let's just see. Sorry for all the dead air. All right.
I tap dance it.
Yeah, no, I'm comfortable being uncomfortable. All right, let's do this. Let's do that. Where the hell is it? All right. Son of a bitch. All right. My computer's been acting funky. All right. Maybe I'll just pull it. All right. Positioning. Dropbox. Outbox. Nope. Dropbox. Outbox. There we go. Oh, and date. You know, I'm looking at the wrong thing. I need to look at date added. Yeah. All right. Cool. There we go. Hook radar. There we go. All right. So now I just needed to upload. I'm looking for, guys, sorry about, I'm going to be a lot smoother, I promise, as time goes on. I am waiting for this to finish uploading. Oh, my files are up to date, supposedly. Okay. So then why isn't this? Oh, my God. All right. Let me look at this online, I guess. I promise it's worth it if that makes it any better. There we go. Thanks, Keith. Keith, thank you for being the one person that seems to be talking here. I appreciate it. Still, I like open with app stores. I don't think I can just pull this in, can I? Can I share it just like across the? Oh, I might be able to.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I didn't think so either. That would be just too cool. And look, like it's up in my Dropbox. I actually accessed it through Dropbox. And oh, there, finally. Yeah, right? Copy Dropbox link. Okay, guys, here is the link. Tell me if you guys can grab it. Mike, come over and just this. Wait, where is this? I think you got to come. I got to switch cameras. So,
behind the scenes.
Oh, okay.
So this is a little meta. I'm on camera. Let me show people. This is for your social media later.
Cool.
This is behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Studio, and I'll set this up as I trip on backpacks. There we go.
Yeah. All right. And all right. So I just posted it to Facebook, to YouTube, and to I believe LinkedIn. Yeah. So can you guys, you got it? Cool. Thanks, Keith. Did anyone on Facebook get it? If anyone's on Facebook, can you just tell me if you got it? Got it. Cool. Oh, Etienne got it on, it's both YouTube. And Mike, just before we actually say goodbye and I just end this episode, take a seat here and just tell people what you're working on right now. Because someone asked, like, what's Mike working on with AI these days?
Yeah, I'm really getting into some really cool skills. I've been making like kind of like a skills hub, because obviously there's hundreds of skills, but like what's becoming like now these really super powerful skills that you would say, that you like I've shown to a couple of people and they're like, are you selling that? You could sell that for like $497 a month, like that type of skill. And then I just package them and put them inside of like memberships and stuff. But for me, it's just Codex superpowers, really.
Got it.
Yeah.
So I was telling them that like today you're going to help me focus on all the things that I can do to get the manifesto out in people's hands. I want to show you this dialogue that I had with. I've been going to every AI, like almost every day, anonymously, and having a conversation about judgment in AI, just to kind of see, like, you know, and some of it's pretty mind blowing, like some of this printouts and stuff. So, guys, have a wonderful weekend. I might like pop up and do a live stream over the weekend, only because my girlfriend's out of town. We have this puppy at the house now. See how big she is?
Oh my goodness! Yeah, I got scared. I was out there for 5 minutes.
She's now 60 pounds. She was 20 pounds. She's now 60 pounds. She will weigh 160 pounds by the time she's done growing. She's 5.5 months old now. Anyway, my girlfriend's out of town, and I am like a Nazi when it comes to like training my dogs. Like I've had Great Danes my whole life. Kim is never had a dog, and she like thinks puppies are cute, and this dog is not trained. And because this dog is not trained, it's like, you know, I have to basically stay in the house all weekend. So I will be here with very little to do except work. So I'll probably do another live stream. Anyway, guys, thanks for being here. We'll do it again on Monday. On Monday, I will get the screens working. I will actually show you better how to inject hooks. I'll show you how like hooks work in my system, how whenever I start a conversation on any AI, on any desktop app, any Codex app, any code app, any terminal, whatever, there's an immediate injection right when I say hi of everything I've done in the last 2 weeks, what I've spent the last 3 days on, what I spent yesterday on, and what I've spent today on already. And so that no matter what, I jump on Manus knows everything I just did in Codex and Claude. If I jump in Claude, it knows what Codex is working on for me and everything else. And so it becomes a very like synergistic combined system. And I will begin to show you guys that on Monday. So have a great weekend. Pass around the manifesto. If you haven't read it, please read it. I guarantee you it will blow you away. And after it's blown you away, then please share it. And till Monday, to higher profits beyond, Rich Sheffrin and Mike Filsain, over and out.